from what I've seen from support Batrider, from what I've seen from a lot of these jars with minimal stuns around these objectives, it doesn't look pretty.
Yeah. Let's see what Lanfer does. CTY played Wind Ranger the other day in the carry role, and obviously it did end up working out for them. So we'll see if Lanfer can do the same. Honestly, I thought they were going to put the Wind Ranger mid, and then he would play the Magnus, but we'll see if this pays off instead. I hope Small KK makes sure that even though he's playing from the mid lane, Blink Harpoon is the priority for him in this game.
Yeah. I think maybe it could have potentially been like a matchup thing where Small KK seeing the Void Spirit potentially could have thought that it was just a better matchup for him going into the Void Spirit with the Magnus. Either way, I think that they both would have been fine. Wind Ranger probably does better in the lane against the Medusa, so that's a big positive for them. They've got a lot of long-range poke, especially with the Skywrath mage. So this Medusa in the offlane, it's going to be a rough time, I think.
Speaking of Dusa, she might find a first blood here, but they run out of slows onto Ranfudao. Shola was too far away, so they didn't have any blood grenades available. And they'll content themselves with just not getting a bounty. But in the meantime, while this was happening, Team Disillusion got 3 bounties on the map. Okay. So there was a curse that happened in Div 1, Fluke, where if the team got 3 bounties and they got the first blood, there's only 1 game in the entire tour where that team didn't end up winning the game. So if they get first blood here, Team Disillusion off to a hot start.
Yeah, I also remember there was a Mars curse as well, right? In like 201 that did 202 break. I don't know. I think Mars was pretty bad. Mars has been pretty bad for a long time. But I'm a big fan of superstition and curses, so hopefully it sticks true. So then it makes my job easier, right? If they get first blood, then I just walk away. I say, guys, the game's done. I just tell Twitch chat and we go home, you know?
GG, well played. Don't have to worry about anything no more.
It's written in the books.
So look at this mid lane matchup. For once, one that might actually require us to at least think about it a little bit. It's going to be a lot of trading, but Timber versus Mag. We don't see this all that often in the mid lane, despite the fact that these heroes are often paired against each other in a lot of these games. When I normally play against this, it is in the off lane against the Timber. But how does this go middle? Normally, I expect Timber to still be able to win the matchup pretty much no matter where he is.
Yeah, Small KK can outplay him a little bit though. With obviously Shockwave and Skewer underneath the tower, it's very hard for a Timbersaw to get those angles to get out, just because of the way that the architecture is in the mid lane. You don't really have any of those good trees to be able to catch out. So there is potential for Small KK to be able to catch out the Timber, but Timber's going to get to the point where Whirling Death spam is going to be too hard for Small KK to worry about. One big thing though, he is a universal hero, so it's not the the worst in the world. For him to lose it. I haven't run the damage numbers on about like how much damage you lose with the stats, so could potentially be a different change, but it's not like the Whirling Death is as bad as it used to be, you know?
Definitely not. Down bottom, I'm gonna start seeing more and more harass in this lane. Einid did almost take a tumble earlier, but Shola's the one that needs to start being careful. From level 2 onwards, playing here is not easy. This Iron Shell is going to start being put on the necks. They just chase you around all the time. Super, super frustrating.
It's going to be rough. But they potentially have a little bit of kill threat because they do at least have a stun on their carry with the Void Spirit.
Chola's
but
dead.
It's about dying before that.
Chola's dead. Vacuum into the Iron Shells. That's going to give the first blood away. John will at least get some revenge by quickly bringing down Aenid. But still, Aenid, very happy. He spent his gold before he died to finish off his wand. He's gonna come back to the lane close to the Ring of Health. Everything's Gucci for them.
Yeah, feels okay. They would have loved to have lived, but the amount of damage that came out from like the double blood grenade took a lot of health off of them. So Team Disillusion, they're doing pretty well in their lane so far. The big glaring issue that I'm seeing right now is Lonfer is basically at parity with Karma, who's doing a really good job on this offlane Medusa. And offlane Medusa is one of those scary heroes that can kind of hit this early tempo timing where she becomes a hero that's hard to deal with Phylactery. And obviously, if you don't have like a Diffusal Rush, then it'll be hard for you to deal with this hero if they just start headbutting in your towers, which they can do with like, Undying and Batrider and Timbersaw. So his objectives could be on the menu pretty early on for Supernova.
Also, one of the reasons why I prefer having Wind Ranger mid in lieu of having her in the safe lane is when she's safe lane, she does not tend to buy the diffusal blade. So we will not have a diffusal. And I think diffusal Wind Ranger is so good against Medusa. So we'll have to find different answers to deal with Karma's inordinate amount of survivability on that Dusa.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate to see him go for it, but I'm definitely a bigger fan of Glepnir plus Lincoln Sphere this game, just because it enables you to get away from the small amount of lockdown that they do have. It also means that you're a massive kill threat on the lanes. I think it'll probably temper his ideas depending on how obnoxious Karma is in the game. If they've killed him like once or twice, then they're probably just like, we don't need it. But if he starts becoming an issue with like an early phylactery, then maybe you might start looking towards that diffusal blade.
Down bottom, first tombstone of the game does get dropped by Shola. Secures him the life of this next assassin. I mean, I actually kind of like it when Undyings do this. Use their spells, don't save it for that perfect opportunity. Just use it to get an advantage in the lane. That does, of course, mean that next assassin can go replenish small KK's bottle. But overall, Supernova still feel good about the situation.
Yeah, going a little warding mission for Mr. Aaron. And neither of these supports, I mean, I guess a lot of these supports really don't like making rotations. I mean, for Dirge, it's hard for him because he's going to be linking up with a lane that doesn't have any stuns. Batrider is one of those heroes that may be able to make a rotation early, but it's going to be hard for him to kill into the Nyx Darkseer lane. So I think there's going to be a pretty static laning phase until we see at least some level 6s arise for these supports.
Just farm. I'd love to see it.
Ain't it?
Top lane, we do get a shackle shot going out onto Sheep, and it also was in a bit of danger. So on both sides of the map, attempts being made on heroes' lives, but none of these attempts come to any fruition. Let's take a quick look at middle, right? Because this Magnus is doing a really good job in the denies. Like he's 12 versus 6 at the moment, basically. So we find a death on the Dirge. Whatever. It's just Shola. We knew it was going to start dying around this point in time. 2 points into Iron Shell are available. That's not going to be the last time that we see a death on this Undying. But at the same time, Ranfu Dao has made a rotation bottom, looking towards bringing down Dong. Dong will be able to get the kill onto Ironhead. The supports will finish him off. So both heroes will be dead bottom. Good stuff being done here by the side of the Team Dissolution lineup to make that move.
Yeah, it would have been a lot nicer if Aiden was able to live, but unfortunately he was not. Sheep's doing some shenanigans here by farming up this neutral camp in front of the face of small KK. So he will just have to, unfortunately, have his neutral crits be taken. And kind of circling back to the idea you said with the massive amount of denies, I think the big thing for small KK in this matchup is the crit wave will naturally be pushed underneath his tower, and you're going to have an advantage because you have Empower, right, against Timbersaw. So I think that's where a lot of his denies have come. It's just naturally being underneath the tower, being able to win out there.
Down bottom, one of the scariest points when you're playing against Void Spirit is level 6. It did arrive quite early for Dong, but Ironhead had his dancing shoes on, was able to evade away from Shola and Dong. And they're going back on him potentially here. But Ranfu Dao is here. He's already thrown in the silence. I don't think they'll be able to get that much damage on the tower, but Sea Dragon will still beat away at it. Get some decent damage out. In the meantime, middle Aaron gets flame broken back towards Han. Chakram is out as well. Very nice impale being found, but sadly not good enough to save his life. So they don't find the kills down bottom, but they do find something in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is the one issue that Team Disillusion has, is them being able to defend towers. They kind of need like a whole team fight to kind of kick off. And what I said just before with Supernova, they've got these heroes that can kind of just face rush into a tower, right? Like you've got a Timbersaw, you've got a Medusa, these heroes that are just going to kind of plant themselves in your lane in front of a tower and eventually chip it away and take it down. And Team Dissolution don't really have a good way until they get, maybe some Blink Daggers or the Echo Saber or what have you on their heroes until they can start to defend these towers properly.
Yeah. Might have another Tombstone getting dropped down as Shola throws it in onto Ranfu Dao. Astral Step comes in from Dong as well to finish it off. They've been very aggressive in this bottom side of the map. They really want this tier 1 tower, but they're being denied this because Aaron, with his presence being here as well, becomes a little bit harder to push through this. Still though, good stuff. Supernova playing with some very high tempo down bottom. They even finished the very early Pavis. 8 minutes in, Shola already has this item. Love to see it.
Yeah, and they're just kind of abusing the fact that, albeit they don't have stuns early on, but Undying is a very, very strong hero before people can deal with the Tombstone, right? Before people have these abilities to get away. And they're probably going to need another freebie here on Aaron. Yep, they do.
Indeed, they do. They get the freebie. They just want this building. And it'll be even better if they can get it before Aeonid hits level 6 himself. That would be... Woo! That would feel good. Oh, I've got an update, brother. This Shola Pavis, it's the fastest Undying Pavis ever built. Sure, it's only a sample size of 49, but still, good stuff from Shola.
Congratulations to Chola being able to get that. It's an insane Pavis game. Like it's a sick Pavis game, this game. So him picking that up is pretty massive for his squad. Lon Fur dropped relatively low in that top lane. I don't know why he had like 100 HP, but either way, he's healthy now. And yeah, the fact that they've been able to take 2 tier 1 towers at 9 minutes into the game with the heroes that they have is disgusting. This is insane start for the side of Supernova, and they had a good start last game, and the game still went the way of Team Disillusion. So we're not going to count them out just yet, or especially if these stacks get stolen.
They want them. Small KK though. We'll find Karma running in front of his face, trying to block him with the Stone Gaze. Aaron gets a very nice 2-hero Impale. Karma just wants to find Small KK, who's forced into RPing just to stay alive. Nice little science from Ranfu Dao. Prevents the Timber Chain, but Small KK should still end up dead. At the same time though, the Shackle Shot from Lanfur thrown out onto Sheep. Sheep not dead just yet. And they don't have enough damage to kill him off quickly. He finally gets denied by the Centaur Conqueror. Feels so bad. Aaron though will die heads up at least. So the only kill they get doesn't even go their way. Team Dissolution not finding anything in this early game right now.
Yeah, Lonfer not being able to commit for the kill means that everybody else is just going to fall to the wayside, and they are just getting this pressure put on them here for Team Disillusion. It's very, very hard for them to try and compete against this because they just don't have the heroes to respond. You know, Aeonid wants to sit back and farm and get some of his items. Aaron's very low on the levels department. And, you know, they've got a Wind Ranger and a Magnus as their other cores. So it's like they don't really have this scary amount of damage early on until they get some of these early game items. And they're doing a really, really good job on Supernova, just kind of pushing the tempo and just forcing Team Disillusion to feel uncomfortable with how the game state is.
Very uncomfortable place to be. The only hero doing moderately well is Small KK on his Magnus. Still farming away, but the rest of the crew, they need time to catch up, especially Lanfur. However, we also know that this Team Dissolution team is like a sleeping dragon. Might look like easy customers right now, but the longer things go, the more comebacks could happen. And we see a big jump in. Dong goes for Aaron. At the same time, Kamal getting force fired by Lanfur. Lanfur won't be able to kill him though. Trying to TP out, Stone Gaze will not cancel it in time. But this will open up the path towards the tier 1 tower. Very easy take for Supernova. And they get to continue taking all the map away from the side of Team Dissolution. 12 minutes in, Fluke, and we have no tier 1 standing on the dire side.
Yeah, and again, this is just what I said. Just it's hard for them to defend any of their towers. And now Lonfer is going to try something again, but doesn't have focus fire. So he just doesn't have any damage early on. And this Wind Ranger hero is very much needs to snowball super hard to feel good. And right now, Lonfer is very far behind. He is not even 4,000 net worth yet. And this is your carry. He got demolished in lane, it seems, and just hasn't been able to get the farm back. But big shining light, Small KK. He's got Mask of Madness, almost Echo Saber now. Once he gets into that Blink Harpoon, he can do a lot of work on the map for them. And they can just link up as kind of 5 heroes to be able to get these fights going. And that's where it becomes hard for Supernova, especially if, you know, all eyes on Sheep. He doesn't have Blink Dagger. They don't have Blink Dagger on the Bat Rider. It's going to be all on Dong to kind of carry them throughout this game, to do a lot of damage for them to start these fights.
Well, they're smoked up right now on the Dire lineup. The Nyx Assassin and Scarlet Mage want to find something. Aaron does have the level 6 with the Vendetta, but they don't have any... Oh my
Han
god, wait, what? Han is actually such a god. Tamla.
Oh.
So, having seen what you just saw right there, right, where he makes a move that should have been hard punished, Brother Fluke, please tell me you've gotten on board. Get this fucking Tumbler's Toy out of the game item. Top lane, small KK does die to Dong on the crew. You know why he dies? He didn't have a Tumbler's Toy, so he couldn't get out safely.
Yeah, I actually was surprised that it survived 7.33. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I was just like, wait, how did Tumbler's Toy live? And like, what? I thought that thing was going to be completely removed from the game, not even out of the rotation. But it survived, and I think that's the first time in a long time I've actually seen a Tumbler's Toy save somebody. So, I mean, when it looks like that, you're like, yeah, this shit's too good. It's far too good.
Maybe they thought to themselves, well, giving you options for your neutrals, maybe people will feel Tumbler's Toy is not that good relative to like some arcane ring or something like this, but it's still... To be fair though, if Timber had found an occult bracelet, he would rather have that over and above having the Tumbler's Toy, because occult bracelet is stupid. Like, you're saying it's weird that Tumbler's Toy survived the rotation? How occult bracelet got added to this game at all is beyond me.
I think a lot of neutral items are very, very broken when they're in the right hands, and I think that's the issue that we've got. Oh, okay, so that's a freebie there on the sheep.
It is indeed. The question is, can they get out? They want to just retreat very quickly. Lanfer shackles on, and yeah, that should allow them to all get back to safety. Should be all good.
Okay. So they got the kill there on the sheep, which means Delacey has blinked dagger a little bit more. He's still pretty close to it though, 400 gold away. Aenid almost has Pipe of Insight, so they've got a little bit of that damage mitigation. The thing for me, Karma's got a Yasha running out. I'm not sure why, whether I'm the one that's stupid here, but I'm not sure why a lot of these offlane Medusas go Yasha. Surely you just go Ags.
I also prefer the Axe, but we'll talk about it in a second as Lanfer finally gets chopped down by Han, who chased them a long, long way. And they want more. Aenid dropped down the wall, but that's not going to help you, my friend. Dragged back in by Sheep's Lasso. That's going to finish off the Blink Dagger for this Batrider as well. And everything's starting to come clutch for the side here of Supernova. Great stuff done. They're now taking over parts of the jungle as well. They just live here at this moment. Han can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, the callers for the side of Team Disillusion they're just not in this game at all. Lanfer, he has a javelin at 16 minutes in the game. He is 4.8k net worth. Like he's so out of this game. Even though that he's died a single time, he just hasn't hit creeps. Maybe this is a big kill.
Oh. It is, if they can get it. And the Mystic Flare with some right-click damage, it enables them to bring down Ranfu Dao. Oh, kill Dong. Ranfu Dao is the one that gets that kill. Excuse me. Han on the forward edge of the fight. He gets shackled to a tree, but he's super, super tanky. Small KK blinked in. Thought about the RP. Didn't trigger it off just yet. Now uses it. Gets it onto two heroes. They vacuum them both back, and they should be able to kill them off. Ranfu Dao with the killing spree on his Skywrath Mage. Great fight for the Dire lineup. They protect their towers, they take a good fight, and they get to involve some of the most important heroes without them dying, so they get some gold and experience, much needed in the process.
All right, Small KK MVP of the series, full stop. He's actually carrying this team so hardcore. Holy damn. Aenid is in trouble though.
He is indeed.
Small KK's in the area.
He doesn't have full RP though. There's a lasso. They throw it onto Small KK. That does mean it takes them longer to kill Aenid. But Karma does still eventually finish him off.
Crap.
All right. But that was Stonegaze used. Maybe they want to try something off the back of this.
Yeah, Stonegaze and Lasso. They don't have RP for 70 seconds, though, and that's a big issue for them. I think they really want to sit back and just let Lanfer farm his way back into this game. He doesn't have any levels in Power Shot, which I think is a little weird. Usually at least one value point is always useful. Like when I look at a build like this, I'm probably looking at a support that's really trying to just get a lot of work done with a lot of these kills. But yeah, Lanfer just hasn't been able to do anything. He's only got 88 last hits, and
he might do something here though. Is he tries to save Small KK, focus fire onto Sheep, will turn into a freebie like you say, and they're gonna get the pickup on the Undying Tombstone.
Give it to Lanfer.
Nope. And it says, mate, listen, I like you, you cool, but I also want Crimson Guard. Sorry, bro.
He's like 1,000 gold ahead of him. Just let him kill the Tombstone, bro. Come on, man. That's your carry player. That's rough. But I mean, it seems like a good little pick off then. Keeping Small KK alive and getting another kill for Lonfer is exactly what they need to do. They're starting to get to the point now where Medusa is building her own Aghanim Scepter, so she's going to be a lot of lockdown that they have to try and deal with in these fights, which potentially could be an issue for Lonfer, and you can see that's the reason why he's going in towards this Lincoln Sphere. Not only is he a universal hero, but you need to be able to save up against the snakes as well as the lasso.
Well, we might have a lasso triggered out just here as they drop the Mystic Flare onto Shola. Not enough damage to kill him off. Obviously, he has the Pavis. Still has a medallion as well. He's actually crazy tanky on this Undying. Kind of living up to the name in this particular game at least. But the rest of the Die lineup are chasing. They see Han. Maybe not the person they want to start the fight on. Aaron goes in, burns away half of his mana. Focus Fire is going to be out. They're going on to him. Vacuum back. And he's dead. Batrider gets brought down as well as he was caught in the vacuum. And it drops down the wall. It connects onto the Medusa, but he just wants out of this fight. Trying to run himself away as Dong picks off the Nyx Assassin right quick. Lanfer shackles Shola, preventing him from chasing against Ran Fu Dao. So a 2-for-1 affair. And Medusa, stolen Darkseer illusions, trying to take down the Tombstone. Shola does deny it, but ultimately, if I'm on the dire side, I'm still ecstatic about that fight.
KK?
Or maybe not anymore. Small KK in an awkward plot. He's trying to TP out. Will the Stone Gaze cancel it? It will not. He gets out, dude. Small KK, what a boss this series. What a legend.
Yeah, that was spicy. I was like, oh, Small KK goes down here. That's very bad for Team Disillusion because he's their heaviest farmer and he just needs to balloon his net worth out until he becomes a very, very hard hero to deal with because the heroes they've got here for the side of Team Disillusion, they're pretty hard to fight against in a team fight, right? Like Magnus is one of those heroes, especially now as a universal hero, that he's not just an RP bot. He does a lot of damage by himself, especially with this like Silver Edge Mask of Madness build that he's going to have. And they've got a lot of other heroes they have to try and lock down and deal with. And, you know, Wind Ranger, once she gets like Lincoln Sphere plus another damage item, she's going to be very hard to kill. You just start running around these team fights, and then Darkseer provides all the auras that makes it easier for them to get these kills. And Shola?
Yeah, he's just dead.
More gold.
Feeding away the gold of the Tombstone. His team is coming. 3 heroes are smoked. We'll see what they can get out of this here. They first see Ran Fu Dao. Chakra misses. They don't find him. Small KK, you said he needs to get out, but sadly they found him with the lasso and they kill him. No Magnus available. That also signals the end of the push down bottom. So, yeah, it was nice to get Shola earlier, but he bought them enough space and time to get avenged and to defend the real estate.
Yeah, if they're able to get out alive with Small KK, they're probably definitely happy with that. But him going down means that he's dead for like 50 seconds. He's not farming up. They don't have any of their presence on the map as well. And they're more than happy to use the lasso to try and kill him. So maybe that might be something that he's going to look towards after the Silver Edge is going to be like, you know, his big tanky items. Look like he's got the Skadi lined up now. But, you know, I wouldn't hate extra Lincolns. Like lasso is the end all and be all when it comes to hardcore catch, right? So if you're making sure that your 2 cores can't get like instantly lassoed and you have some way of playing around it, like maybe being able to pop a BKB or even a skewer away, means that it just makes it so much harder for Supernova to get these fights going. But Supernova, they're in a good spot. They've got a lot of their cores happy with how their net worth is going. The one thing for me is their objective taking has really slowed down. They haven't put any emphasis on Roche, they haven't put any emphasis on these T2 towers, and they're just slowly starting to get picked off in some of these fights. But they identified that, and now they're going into Roche.
Yep. Literally, as you said it. Unfortunately for them, as much as they've been putting in work in these fights, like it's kind of hard for them to bring down these buildings with the heroes they have. But they're aware that something's going on here on the dire side. They're making their way down bottom. It's going to take too long for them. They're not going to be here in time. So the Roshan will go the way of Supernova. Dong is the one that grabs up the Aegis. So maybe they want to try and utilize this to reach forward for a fight. They have a very good observer ward. So if somebody goes into this graveyard area, they could very well end up dead here, Fluke. And Ran Fu Dao almost went up the hill. But his spidey sensors went a tingle. He understood how much danger he was in. Went to the left, and that keeps him alive.
Yep. Just alive long enough to be able to fall back. There's a lot of sentry coverage coming in from Supernova. Or Aaron, he's just dead.
Yep.
Put out the lasso.
Yeah, there's a spike character, so buys some time, but not going to be enough. He ends up dead. And they're chasing for more potentially, but they're too far away. Dog doesn't want to play overly aggressively here. So they'll turn that kill, I imagine, into a tier 2 tower. While this is happening, Magnus and Windranger finally claiming some real estate. They get the first tower for Team Disillusion in game 2.
Yeah, it opens up a little bit of this space, but they need to make sure that their teammates don't overextend and give more of this space back to Supernova.
Ooh, look at this. Look top, bro. They're stealing the Tormentor. They stole a Wisdom Rune and they're stealing the Tormentor.
Okay.
This is actually big stuff.
Nick's got it too. So he's actually faster.
Okay.
That's actually really good, getting the Vendetta one. I mean, he has to hit people with Vendetta, but I think most of the time he's been hitting the Timbersaw. So being able to increase the amount of magic damage that Timbersaw takes is very, very important, especially with being able to get the break going as well. Do you know, it doesn't break anymore, does it? No, it removes his max
not
mana.
anymore, yeah. Sadly, he has BKB now, though, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to feel the impact of the spell. And here, Supernova, they're on the high ground. They want to leverage this Aegis. With the Supernova, with the Young Tombstone, tier 3 towers already less than half HP. And they smoke a little bit on the side of Team Disillusion, but they're struggling to find the angle in. They don't want to jump this Void Spirit. Dogs here doesn't want to die either. They find Karma. They found Karma. They got the Medusa. They don't prevent the Stone Gaze, though, and she does get it off. And now there's the last two onto the Magnus. They bring down Small KK. He does not have buyback. Tier 3 tower has fallen. They get the damage out onto Aenid. Mystic Snake with the Whirling Death kills off the Dogs here, forcing him to buy back here. We already saw Lanfer just throwing in right clicks, waiting for an opportunity to use the Focus Fire. It hasn't come just yet. It will now emerge. Throwing it in, trying to minus away all this mana from the Deucer. Nice little impale from Aaron, but it doesn't catch anybody. So now he has to try and skirt himself away really quickly. The Racks are still alive, though. Aenid waiting nearby here. Has pipe again in another 15 seconds. Magnus has buyback and is up in 30. They would love to defend without it, though. There's going to be the Remnant, though, that catches Lanfer. Aaron found a wonderful impale, and that's going to buy Lanfer the time he needs to stay alive. Shackle Shot doesn't connect, but the last right click from Kama will. Aaron will end up dead. They finish off the melee racks. And this will be them getting out as well. And although they lost the racks, Team Disillusion made it very difficult for Supernova. However, they find a way to take and breach the high ground, giving them the advantage.
Yeah, that was great spacing coming in from Supernova, and they want to engage again. The fake back.
And they find Aaron helping to get the kill off. There's no buyback available on the Dogs here, because it's a straight up dieback from him. Lanfer threw in the Focus Fire. Medusa has lost a lot of mana, but has a Mystic Snake. She should still be fine. Small KK was waiting in the wings, hoping for an opportunity to find a blink, a skewer, and any kind of play. But none will be forthcoming. And the rest of Supernova just take what they want and leave without suffering anything.
Yeah, you can really see the issues that they're having with their team fights here for Team Disillusion is they rely so heavily on the wombo combo hitting, and Supernova understand that. They've got an Aegis, so they just put one of their heroes in the front lines right there. They just put Dong there, and he just chips away at the building, and Small KK is like, all right, I got to try and grab the Medusa in this as well. He did get the nice Blink Harpoon skewer play, but by that time, Dong was able to easily respond with the Dissimulate, gets himself out, and then the RP just never comes out because they've just got that extra bit of damage, and they're just having issues with keeping some of their members alive. They've only got 1 4-staff up on the Skywrath Mage, and yeah, this Nyx Assassin, we're seeing the issues that the hero has, right? Like, you can't just walk up with Vendetta because, like, pro teams are going to be good enough with their vision that it's too hard for you to try and defend your base, and that's one of the issues that Nyx Assassin has, is defending your base against these 5-man pushes. And it's just too hard for them to get a fight going. And again, I'm going to circle back to it, but Lanfer has really not had a game. He's going Ag Scepter, which I don't think I really like. I think you just have to bite the bullet and get a BKB this game. And just play that way, and hopefully you can just BKB, focus fire, kill someone.
Really hasn't had much influence in the game. We saw the damage numbers pop up just now, and Lanfer was on the lower end, not providing his team with the punch that they need. And you know, this is compared and contrasted with his Bloodseeker in game 1. Bloodseeker will eventually get to that point with just pure itemization, where you truly are a menace in the midst of these team fights. Wind Ranger,
Small
not
KK
so
is
much.
down bottom.
And Small KK, he's the one that cannot die. He's not allowed to get caught out here. He's juking, he's jiving, and he's actually
He didn't get
surviving. He's good. He's straight. He's out. What a player.
Like, is this guy made of air? I feel like every single time somebody tries to catch him, he just runs away. This, oh my god, Small KK is the Duke god.
The fact that he didn't get clipped by that dust there as well is criminal. I think Supernova deserved to be able to hit that one, but he gets away by the skin of his teeth. He doesn't kill the tier 1 tower, but he forces all the rotations of Supernova. And I mean, this is reminiscent of game number 1, right? Like, Supernova, they go in, they have a scary hero, they take a lane of racks, but Team Disillusion, they just slowly chip away at them with Small KK walking down a lane, and then eventually it's going to get to the point where Lonfer has his items. So
Not
this is
twice.
very
dude.
reminiscent of game number 1, Snare.
It can happen once. It can happen once. Twice in the same series. No way, dude. But if it does, Small KK will have leveled himself up, not just from game MVP, but just division MVP at that point. If he can make this happen, sadly though, he might end up dead here. Oh, look at this. Sheep read the move, blinks in front of him, so he gets carried with the skewer. Will end up dead for this, but he did get off the dust. That's the important part.
Okay.
This time the dust is out, they have the vision, and they can kill off the Magnus.
Yeah, so they at least finally get that kill there onto Small
Oh
KK.
no, but look what, Shola's gonna die though on the other side of the map. He's not with his crew. Will get back by Ayanit. As he dies, they might be able to clean up the tombstone, but Kama will solo zone them away, actually almost killing Ranfu Dao. The shackle shot required to save him, and he needs to TP
He's
out
dead.
right now. Chakram though comes too soon. Holy smokes, what a kill.
Yeah, they just walked into a tombstone, and Chola understood that he was dead, so he's going to drop the tombstone, and worst case, people get stuck in there, and, you know, Karma's done a good job with his Aghanim set the build, and this is why I feel like it was so strong in the offlane, and I guess the pace of the game meant that he's able to sit back and kind of just go these carry items, and now it's just very hard for them to deal with any of these heroes for Supernova. And this game definitely does feel a little bit more of a ways away than what game number 1 did, because how do you deal with Dusa, how do you deal with Timber, how do you deal with Void Spirit? You're going to have to get a sick blink vacuum wall, which he's finally got now on Ayanid.
He does get the vacuum wall into the
Gonna get one
3-hero
hero.
impale. Shackle shot though doesn't connect onto all of them, and the wall only hit 1 hero. They end up killing off Aaron very quickly after the stone gaze. Lanfer though still going in onto Kama, and they do melt the Medusa down.
Okay.
As our mana pool expires, so does she. However, they did find a lane of racks, and they brought back on Aaron. They want more out of this on the side of Team Dissolution. They find a shackle shot onto Shola, who will happily die for the cause here. Small KK doesn't want just the skewer, will catch Sheep, so that's gonna be something for them. And it finishes off Shola with Lanfer's help, and Sheep will end up being killed off by Aaron. So Supernova do take the lane of racks, but doesn't come for free. Several heroes die in the process. Sadly though, there's no Roshan to be picked up by Disillusion.
Yeah, that the vacuum wall was almost rough. They did eventually get the illusions on the Timbersaw and the Medusa, but they weren't like instant illusions that we saw, so they lasted a little bit longer. But either way, they win the fight exactly like they needed to. They start to pull back this net worth lead. They are looking towards Roche. He's going to be up in 1 minute and 30. So it's going to be a hard fight for them to stick around for 1.5 minutes. But at least they're getting gold. You know, Lonfer now, okay, he did build the BKB. I like this. I think the only way that he's able to deal damage in these team fights is by building BKB. Like, it sucks. I know it does. But you kind of just have to have BKB to try and just run in, focus fire, BKB, and do what he did to Karma, right? Like, he just runs in and he focus fires him, and then the Medusa can't do anything about it. So, it's a rough way to go, especially with Ranfu Dao going down. But it's exactly what they needed. And now they're clawing the game back. But if they lose Roche, I don't see how they're fighting into an Aegis here, Snare.
Fortunately for them, the Aegis still not available for pickup. It's unfortunate for Disillusion that they brought back on Skyrath Mage. Man, there's one of those times where you're really sad as a player that you don't see the exact Roshan time. Because he didn't actually have to buy back for this fight. But now let's see what happens here. Sheep gets caught, killed very fast. No lasso available here. Stone Gaze has been triggered off. And they killed the Nyx Assassin quite quickly. And it got the blink vacuum onto 2 heroes. But where's the rest of his team? The rest of his team, they found Dong. They got the catch. They killed him. He doesn't have buyback on the Void Spirit right now. Now they need to run the hell away. RP will come in directly onto Kama. Has a lot of mana to work with still. Can they fight through this wall? Yes, they can, because they're fighting right next to the tombstone. Now they need to run the hell away. Lonfer, he's still alive. Hana's chasing him. Misses with the chakram though. And they will be able to slow him down now. Shackram, the shackle shot will be there. Chakram comes out, but he's away into the base. He's going to be safe. It looked so good for them. I thought they were maybe going to be able to make that happen, but the tombstone placement from Shola, just way too good, Fluke.
Yeah, it's too good, and obviously the butterfly from Karma as well was a massive pickup. It just meant that small KK, who doesn't have an MKB, just can't kill him inside of RP. Probably you would have seen Karma go down if he didn't have that butterfly, but the way that fight did go, small KK doesn't have any buybacks. It's probably going to be mega creeps, and unfortunately, my 2-0 curse is not going to stay too long here in 2 or 3.
Nope. Ionid potentially about to die. Does survive for now though. And Lanfer doing a decent amount of damage onto Han. So they give up the chase onto Ionid. Instead focus on getting themselves the megas. The building will eventually fall. Kama making sure his team has the megas they need. Ionid finds a 4-hero vacuum into a 3-hero impale coming in from Iron. It's not going to be enough. They don't have the damage. Small KK is still dead. Lanfer is not strong enough. So they'll have to play this game with megas being in mind. How on earth do they defend from this position?
Yeah, it's a little rough, especially because Karma's just basically turned into a position 1 Medusa with a Flactor and an Ags, right? So this is the power of this offlane Medusa is you build Phylactery, you be this kind of hard hero to deal with, and then you get into the Ag Scepter and you have that little bit of extra team fight ability, and eventually it's just going to get to the point where you don't need to build anything else, you can just build carry items, and now he's doing enough damage in these fights for him to be considered a big carry. And especially with the MKB that's going to come up as well. So Team Disillusion, I think they've only really got 1 fight left in them. If they don't completely full 5-man wipe and push down a lane with a few big items coming up, it's going to be next to impossible for them to do it. But there is still like, what, 4 or 5 team fights they have to win. You know, if they win the first fight against this Aegis, they get themselves a tier 1 tower, probably get themselves a tier 2 tower. And they have to fall back, win another fight, get another set of tier 2 towers, fall back, win another fight. Like it's a long road ahead of them here if they want to try and win.
Indeed it is. Small KK trying to abridge that road, but sadly will just end up dead for his efforts. Does have the buyback though. And Sheep has just had his number the whole game, just chasing Magnus around. Happy to die if it means that the Magnus also follows him into the grave. So the support Magnus for the side of Supernova has certainly worked out for them. They have a buyback on the mag. They need to use it. They need it right now. They jump in. They find Ionid. Ionid already falling so low. There will be a nice shackle shot on the vac wall coming out. And at the same time, Dong got caught and killed. Shola taking damage from small KK. And he'll die to him as well. So they took 2 fights at once from the dire lineup. And the fight on the back from small KK enables them to kill the Void Spirit. And they're not done just yet, Fluke. They're going in. They find the Medusa. She doesn't have Stone Gaze. She doesn't have mana. And now she's dead. Aegis, though, will bring her back for round 2. Shackle shot doesn't latch onto Han. But so he's felt a little bit more free to move around in this fight, though. However, Focus Fire doesn't need to latch for them to just kill him off. And he's just gone. Kama now. He's looking a little bit isolated. Shola's going to try and help him out. He fought back just to keep Kama alive. But Kama will still find himself taking a tumble. Lanfer so low, though. Lanfer dies for this. Oh, no. You don't want to see that. The gem of True Sight is on the deck. Somebody go pick up the gem. We need the vision. Aaron, go back. Go back. Okay. What a crazy fight. They defend the base. They kill all the big cores. Somehow this game is still going, Fluke.
All right, that's fight number 1. There's a couple more they need to go. The target prioritization is getting really, really good. They're starting to really lock down some of the heroes they need to get, be able to catch them. Aaron's doing a really good job of just getting his body in the right places with his Spike Carapace, and then following it up with an Impale. But you can just see how long it takes them to deal with some of these heroes, right? Like, it just takes them such a long time to get rid of Karma that it almost takes like 2 or 3 rounds of Lon first Focus Fire to get it done. And see, this was a nice little Impale that comes in and be able to catch out Dong, and then he gets silenced, he gets stunned, and then that was a Mind Flay that basically one-shot him from like half HP. So
a lot of damage the Nyx Assassin can do, and with these two heroes going down almost instantly, you can just see that Team Disillusion, they just want to sit back and they just want to chip you. They just want to force you to try and play your abilities in bad spots. They just want to get Karma out of position. And then eventually they're able to get the kill. And I'm surprised at how much damage Lonfer can do to Han. Like, Han does not feel overly tanky this game when he gets focus fired. So he has to be careful in these fights if he's the one that gets caught out. Especially because he's a lot of their lockdown with the sheep stick.
Yeah. Han's death here pretty big. It's very unfortunate that Lanfer died here. I don't think he had to. Just got a little bit overzealous, but still, you'll take it no matter how the kill ends up happening for your lineup. What does suck though is that, like you mentioned, they have to do that multiple more times, and next time out they will not have buyback on Small KK. So Small KK gets picked off beforehand, and he's super instrumental for them being able to make those kind of plays. You need to be very careful with the remaining heroes and their ability to re-engage the fight.
I was going to say, does Small KK try and see if he has enough damage with a DD rune and RP to solo kill Karma, but doesn't look like he can get it done. If he finds Dong, I feel like in an RP he kills Dong. Like, even though Dong's got like, what, 3,000 health and a Manta, like in RP, he does so much damage, especially with the DD rune, like 10% empower damage and cleave. He's just got so much damage that happens inside of RP. 3.5 seconds for him to just whack away with what, harpoon hits and all the other special stuff. Definitely feels like he can do it. But I think 25 is going to be pretty important for some of these heroes as well. I think for the Dark Seer, it's going to get pretty good for him to get towards the 25. Just having those extra
Small KK.
Iron Shell charges.
Small KK, is he dead? He's trying to get out right now. Sadly for him, they have all the vision in the world. He turns with the RP, trying to get the damage, at least killing off sheep. Can't do it. Might be game. He's dead for 2 minutes. They have an Aegis. Oh, they don't have an Aegis. That's the one thing. If they had an Aegis, they would be going for the jugular, but... dude, that's... I can understand him, like, farming the far edge, like Ancients and stuff, but it was so risky to go into the lane itself.
Yeah.
What a punish coming in from Supernova.
Yeah, and they were kind of on his scent as well. It seems like they really understood where he was, and yeah, I'm gonna have to try and do something.
Let's go back wall. It only hits the Undying, but they still kill Karma. He's low, he's dead. The Medusa's gone. She does buy back, however. Iron it force staffing away from the rest of Supernova. So therefore, taking a decent enough fight so far. They get a young Impale out onto Sheep. Sheep is dead on the Batrider. Dong, though, jumping in to assassinate these support heroes, forcing both of them to have to buy back. Lonfer really wants to try and find a shackle shot onto these core heroes, but they're just chasing them down one by one. Aeonid is dead. He's forced to buy back. The Ancient is exposed. They're beating it down, but Chola will also die here. Aeonid helping to kill him during the vacuum. BKB popped now by Han, but the BKB goes down. Aaron wants the damage out. Dong got found out by Lonfer and crew, and Han is about to die too. What the hell am I witnessing? The game is still on. Dong did buy back. They're going on to Lonfer. Lonfer will die to Sheep. He buys back, but it's already too late. Megas are beating down the Ancient. The building has fallen, and Supernova have forced us.